Hello, everybody. Okay, let's check this out. Got some sunshine coming through here. And hello. Nice to have everybody on board. Let's put this all like this. Okay. We got a nice little desktop receiver ready today. Those that want to see, we've readied our Kenwood R5000 receiver tonight. So when we tune around the bands a little later, we'll tune with the Kenwood R5000. Of course, we've got the SDR still running there. So I think that's going to be kind of nice. Good old radio. Okay. This looks nice here. Looks nice here. Just going to do a little switch like that. A little more like this. Here we go. And everything looks okay. Let me just separate this from here. Open the chat here. And switch this here. And here we go. Here we go. So here we go. Hey, we are ready for another live show, guys. Welcome aboard. This is the Saturday edition of the Shortwave live show. And my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and that's the northeast part of North America. We are here to have fun talking about radio, tuning to bands, answering questions, just having some fun with something that usually is done pretty lonely in our homes. We often do not have anybody else to do that with because most people go and just like look at you and say, "What's that strange noise? Why are you listening to static?" And you end up doing it alone. But here we're together listening to our static and happy to do so. So this is going to be the time to have fun together and feel like we're a great community. We've seen it last week with the Zoom meeting. How we are an amazing community of people that just are fun loving and just great to share about radio and have fun with radio all the time. So this is kind of cool, and hope that you enjoyed the live shows we have every week. It is definitely fun to be here and do this. So, like I said, my name is Gilles, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We are tuning to bands. We listen to shortwave. We check out what signals are out there. We just have a lot of fun together, sharing, and hope that everybody is going to have fun today also. Sit down, get comfortable, turn on that radio, have a drink, whatever it is, water, tea, coffee, soda of some sort. My drink, as usual, is cranberry vodka. So cheers, everybody. And we just have fun together. And there's a beautiful chat room with wonderful people. And that is also the place where people share, answer questions, ask questions. I think it's the best place for anybody that is new to the hobby because we are here to help, and we are here. We want to have other people join us. We want to have new people in the hobby. We want this to be the place where everybody feels like they are welcome. And I think we're doing a good job at that. I think we're doing a great job in doing what we do. And there's a number of newbies coming here and trying to listen to shortwave and asking questions. And Depending where you live, the hobby certainly isn't always easy. The noise levels are so high that in some cases that is the major problem. In some cases, depending on where you live, also the number of signals. North America is not as lucky as Europe, for example, in the number of signals that we hear easily. West Coast of North America, tough to get Europe. East Coast, tough to get Asia. And there's all of these little things here and there. Had the noise floor that's very high, and that blocks a lot of the weaker signals that are there. There's definitely there, but it's just the noise is blocking them. And then you go to a park, you go to a little forest, whatever, go camping, bring that radio along, and you suddenly realize the radio is alive with signals, and there's a lot of stuff to listen to. But it doesn't show sometimes because of the high noise level we get around where we are. And you got to understand when to listen. Also, midday isn't usually the best time in the world, like noon, 1 p.m. You might find that it's kind of a little quiet. Usually, mid afternoon to late afternoon and evening is often kind of the prime time to listen to shortwave. So this is definitely something to consider. And of course, once the show is over, the party continues. There's a after party. Where that happens is on Facebook with our official SWL channel Facebook page. So great place to be, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm kind of a little prepped up here. I kind of find it cool because I got rewarded this week, not on this channel, but on the computer technology, Windows computer technology channel. I got my, just to show you guys, my first award from YouTube. Here we go. And this is my first 100,000 subscribers on my Windows computer and technology channel. Very nice award, brushed aluminum. Very nice looking. I mean, I saw the awards that others won, but this is definitely very nice. And it's going to find its way there on the wall here in the back. Actually, I was planning to put this on the wall and put my ham radio license on the wall in the back too. So my first award, and who knows, at some point, maybe I'll get this for my YouTube award for the official SWL channel. We're still a long way though. For this award to happen here, we still need about 65,000 subscribers more. But definitely, something that keeps you going. You're kind of, wow, you wanna continue, and you wanna just, continue having fun. And I think it's a great thing that they have with the awards, and, definitely. So really, really nice to have this. And hey, at some point, who knows, I'll get the 100,000 subscriber award for official SWL channel. That will be another milestone. That would be kind of cool. Definitely more difficult to get 100,000 people watch, or, subscribe to a channel that is dedicated to a very, very niche market, very specific market of shortwave radio and radio in general. But I don't think it's impossible. I think it's totally possible to get 100,000 at some point here. We are, getting. I'm growing right now at about 500, 600 subscribers per month here. So ain't that bad, actually. So anyways, interesting week for that. And it's kind of cool. We have some good news, not some great news, but some good news for Voice of Greece. So Voice of Greece was to end its transmissions on shortwave March the 31st. We now learned that it was really something that was supposed to happen. And we've got news that they got an extension. So the latest extension goes to May the 31st. That means that we still have time to help them change their minds. And I wouldn't be surprised that if a lot of you have written to Voice of Greece, like I did also, to let them know you're there listening, that it could be one of the reasons that they've kind of decided, well, we're going to wait a minute here. Okay. So, what we know is that they are taking that time to examine if it's worth and what are they doing with the shortwave outlet of Voice of Grace. That means that we still have something to do. We still are capable of helping out. But that means we need to continue writing in. We need to tell them that shortwave is essential, that that is, Voice of Greece has its just a proper name that it is. It is the voice of Greece. And without that, we are losing the voice of Greece. Give them good comments. Let them know that you rather listen to them on shortwave, and it's kind of hard to find them. Somebody was mentioning the other day, it was kind of hard to find them streaming on the internet or on the internet radios, and that's not how you like listening to their station. Maybe you're not even more interested of listening to, I know that I'm not fond of listening in on broadcasts like that through the internet. And personally, if Voice of Greece removes itself from shortwave, I'll just be not listening to Voice of Greece anymore. That's all. And I think they kind of don't understand correctly the importance of the shortwave outlet. And so write in, continue writing in, continue telling them how important it is to stay on. They definitely probably use that feedback and kind of, show the proper people in the government, look, we got listeners and we got a lot of people that just are listening to us on shortwave, and we can't shut them down. We cannot remove that from shortwave. So it's kind of an interesting development, because it could have just gone, oh, we're gone, we're switching off, no more shortwave, and that's it. But suddenly they're having second thoughts, and I think part of the reason they are having second thoughts is maybe the feedback that they got from the listeners. So I think it's important to write again, let them know, you know what, don't go off shortwave. It would be a really bad decision. I'll be writing again this week to Voice of Grace and letting them know that, first of all, I'm happy about the extension, that they're still on the air, and also letting them know that shortwave is essential for a voice from Greece to the world. It's the way that we know and we learn about Greek music and Greek culture. And even though they're not in English or French or all of these languages anymore, at least it's still there. And it's for the Greek community, I'm sure it must be something that some people actually listen to. So I think it's cool that there's an extension, but we gotta let them know, okay? Because if we can't convince them that it's important, on May 31st, it's the end, and Greece is another country that leaves shortwave suddenly. So, hey, everybody, welcome aboard. And let's start by checking out the email. If anybody checking in through email, first of all, we have through email Richard Lemke. Nice to have you on board from St. Albert, 6 Celsius in St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. And really nice to have you on board, my friend, for sure. And we, of course, have Elizabeth that says hello from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. And she says she's happy to be here, and that she fired up her Kenwood R5000 receiver. Same radio that I got here next to me that we'll be tuning the bands with today. And welcome aboard, Elizabeth, in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Definitely cool to have all of you here today. VA3 JPX, nice to have you here from James from Ottawa. Bobby Burgess at WA5107 SWL from Morgan City, Louisiana. We have Luigi, bonsoir. Et j'espère que ça va bien. Nice to have you on board. Randall, nice to have you here from Chicago area. We have Robert Cross, nice to have you here. Andy New from the UK, M7CUN. Laura Robertson, nice to have you here. Nick Sharp, greetings from Southern England. And he says, did you hear the sad news that C.W. McCall has died at 93, famous to the CB hobbyist for the 1975 worldwide hit Convoy? So, no, I didn't know. I didn't know. So sad. Jeff Williams, nice to have you on board from Cornwall. And Rob, nice to have you here from Phoenix, Arizona. Gary, 24 fan from windy northern Maine. We have Andrew Simpson from England. Tara Cook from in Big Sky Country. KF7BQ. Nice to have you here. We have RJDA Dakota. Nice to have you on board. TVDXer, salut, ça va bien? J'espère que tu vas bien toi aussi. Mark Drager, nice to have you here from Southeast Wisconsin. WA9278 SWL. It's snowing heavily all day. Wow. Here it's just, I don't know, we're kind of just above the freezing point, I guess. We're at 6 Celsius here. And it's supposed to be quite nice this week. We'll reach the 50s and starts, snow is almost all gone here. Not much left, just little spots here and there, but most of it is gone now. So let's hope that it stays like that, because you never know here until May. You never know what could happen here in Montreal. We have Uncle Justin. Nice to have you here from Western New York State, KB2RMC. What else do we have? Bo Busher, nice to have you here from New York. Eric Cottrell, nice to have you here. Sunny in Boston, but windy. DJW883, nice to have you here from Southeast Pennsylvania. Dimitri, nice to have you on board. Scott Cranston from Massachusetts, nice to have you here. Yeah, I'm a little late. I like to do like a big shot star coming late, like in the concerts when you're waiting, and concert's supposed to start at 9 p.m. and they arrive at like 9:25. Just kidding. I had a few things that I was actually preparing and took a little longer than expected. Scott Cranston from Massachusetts, nice to have you here. PB, nice to have you here from the UK. Larry Gilmore, nice to have you on board, and pretty cool to have you here. And he's installed his MLA30. Cool. Luc, salut, j'espère que tu vas bien. VA2HET, nice to have you on board, for sure. PLF Radio, bonjour et bienvenue depuis la France. J'espère que ça va bien. Mon ami, WF7I Homebrew, nice to have you on board from rural Virginia, putting together some desks and storage units for the Radio Shack. So that looks like a reorganization of the shack. It feels good from time to time to move things around, change things around. Definitely. Can't wait for that sun to kind of get behind my little curtain there. What else do we have? Jet Crafter, nice to have you here from sunny but windy southern Maine. Andrew Simpson, nice to have you here. Jeff King from Jacksonville, Florida. Joe Tyson from Apex, North Carolina. KM4WRQ. Stephen Wood from Cape Cod, nice to have you on board. And Eric Cottrell, I got to wait. Yeah, I'm gonna take that time to kind of make sure that everything is all right and figure out everything to make sure that it's working great. To let the ads play before I start talking. But I didn't say much when I started. I just checked a few things and really didn't say much. So I don't think you missed out anything special. Neil from UK, nice to have you on board. Laura Robinson is in Italy. Christian Marcoux, salut. J'espère que tu vas bien. Nice to have you on board from North Bay, Ontario. Bert WF7I sent his Sony ICF 2010 to repair, so no SSB no longer works. So, well, hope that it's going to come back in good shape in a nice working order. It's a beautiful radio, definitely worth checking and making it sure that it works. Hope the repairs are not going to be too costly. Steve Miller, nice to have you on board from Arizona along the Colorado River. Joseph, nice to have you here from San Francisco Bay Area, firing up his GP5. ConnieCon GP5. Chuck, nice to have you here. N5 KVO from sunny South Texas. JJH, nice to have you here from Lake Michigan, south of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And yes, they do wear shorts to play golf today in the snow. Richard Busby, nice to have you here from Chicagoland. Steve 2E0WZL from the UK, nice to have you here. Brian VE7VEB from British Columbia. Joel, nice to have you here from Oregon. We have Uncle Justin cranberry apple juice with blueberry vodka. Sounds good. John Beckham, nice to have you here from Northeast Florida. Greg, nice to have you on board from Wisconsin. For sure, snowing and temperatures 34. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here from Scotland. Try to monitor WRMI 15770 and WCR 15825. They're usually very strong. They were almost inaudible this afternoon. So, yeah, well, there is one point this morning, there was a solar flare, an M flare at 1350 UT around. So there was a shortwave blackout for about an hour. And the K index is like 4, 3, 4. It's kind of the limit it's in an unsettled region. So conditions might be a little weird at the moment. Alasdair, nice to have you here from Oregon Territory. We have thanks for the congratulations, guys. Carl Icon from New York, nice to have you here. Let me just go back here and go back up. Here we go. So we have Jim Gordon drinking Guinness. Cool. Chris 66 from Kentucky, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Dimitri says we finally have sunny weather. Good time to spend with the portable radio. Cool. Zen Faros is following along with the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery and experimental antennas. It's part of the fun. George, nice to have you here from Mexico. F1 Sushi, nice to have you on board. And nice to have you here from Ottawa. What else do we have? Stephen Woods listening to the Voice of Greece on 9420 right now. Pretty cool. Jim from Ireland, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Michael, nice to have you on board from the Garden State. Dan, nice to have you on board from Ohio and 8WJZ. John Beckham, Voice of Greece, is a very important shortwave broadcasting source indeed. Carl Icon, headline from 2 weeks ago about WRMI shortwave radio signal from Florida. Cow pasture reaches Russia, carrying latest news. Greg, snowing near Franklin, Wisconsin. So hope you don't have too much snow. What else do we have? Our JDA Dakota hasn't been a signal for 9420 yesterday or today. Let me just take the trusty old Kenwood here and see if I can hear a little something on 9420 right now. 9420, here we go. So I've got nothing right now. I got nothing right now on 9420. Conditions look a little weird. I'll be checking that out a little later. Mark Schmidt, nice to have you on board from Maine. What else do we have? Yes, all you have to do, George, is to go to the official SWL channel Facebook group and click to add to be a member, and it will you'll be accepted. You get to answer the questions. No answer to the questions, no one gets in. Tom DXer, WPE2QED. Nice to have you here from Hudson Valley, New York. Joe Redman from Chicago area. Dave Conte from the Bronx, New York. Pierre Baudin, nice to have you on board. VE2RRE. Toujours un plaisir. Hans T. Hart, nice to have you here from Holland. Salvo, nice to have you here from Italy. I05586MI. What else? Al from Westport, Massachusetts. Stephen Hayes from London. G0STE. Pretty cool. Hey, Rich McVicker, nice to have you on board. A famous name from HCJB, as a lot of you might remember that name, as when we were listening to that huge broadcaster from Quito, Ecuador. Nice to have you on board. Robert Osborne, Niagara Falls, nice to have you here. And did you guys have any problems with the solar storm this week? Yeah, you had to choose when to listen this week, definitely, because there was a lot of ups and downs in the shortwave listening. So of course, when there's a solar flare, often there's a blackout, especially on the sunlit side of Earth, and of course, there's also the geomagnetic storms we got this week that, of course, change propagation. Actually, I was listening in when we ended the show on Wednesday. We had that G1 class storm that started geomagnetic storm, but signals from the south were just so good. 6080, the Voice of America relay from the Sao Tome, was much stronger than usual. And there was also the Brazilian on 9666.7 or something that was also much stronger than usual. So it really enhanced the signals from the south. But the east-west signal were very difficult to receive. Radio Romania was like very weak at its later in the evening, where 04 or 304 UT broadcast. What else do we have? Robert Osborne, Jim F. from Rhode Island, Sheldon Harvey from Greenfield Park, Quebec. Nice to have you here. Roberto, nice to have you here from Spain. Arjun, nice to have you here from the Netherlands. Japan, don't speak French, but I love your channel. Greetings from Texas. Do you speak Texan? Not really, but when I hear those accents, and especially, the worst part is the CB band. When you listen to all of those guys talking on CB, and you're like, huh? Are you really talking in English? What is that? Todd, nice to have you here from Richmond Hill, Ontario. AA2000, nice to have you here from Italy. Chris, nice to have you here from the occupied state of New York. Danielle Marc LeBlanc, nice to have you here from New Brunswick. Mike Kaiser, nice to have you here. Just got a PL 880. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. Mad Radio DXer is in the house. Nice to have you on board from UK. We have, let's try to reach the bottom of the chat here. We're trying to get down. Glenn from Tennessee, nice to have you here. Chuck from Eastern Pennsylvania. Danielle in New Brunswick said snowed here today. Yeah, here it's we're kind of in a spring mood, +6, +7 Celsius. So Thunder, nice to have you on board. Geotech, nice to have you here. Giorgio from Roma, Italy. Salvo, nice to have you here from Italy. And what else do we have? PLS Radio. Since yesterday there is snow here in France. This is the unusual in April, and the temperature dropped to 20 Celsius difference in 2 days. Wow. That sounds like the weather we have here in Montreal. Laura Robinson, and she can hear the buzzer on her IC 7300. Cool. Thunder has a Texan R9012. Simple, but good radio. Good radio. Greg says hello to Paul the cat and the girlfriend. Chuck N9BSV, nice to have you here. Braden, nice to have you on board from Huntington Beach, California. Hopefully, space weather calms down a little. I think we will have great conditions in the next few days. René Charbonnier from Radio Classic Sunday, Papa Delta 3, Romeo Kilo Delta. Nice to have you on board, my friend from the Netherlands. Chuck is in Wisconsin. Patrick from Washington. Shelley, nice to have you here from South Central Pennsylvania. Roger Gray, nice to have you here from Northwest England. Artist Allicrafter's Kitchen, nice to have you here from Massachusetts. I had little sleep last night, so hoping I can stay awake to tune the radios. Comexi 76, nice to have you here from a rainy, snowy West Michigan. And Ben Ismail, nice to have you here from Algeria. Dr. Sisop, nice to have you on board. And lost WTWW the other night with the G3 class solar storms. So yeah, we're going to check it out. So, like I said today, I kind of installed my Kenwood R5000 here. So this is what is going to be driving my listening, and it's plugged into the console, which means the audio you'll hear from the radios will be the audio from the Kenwood. And of course, I've got the right here. I've got the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery running. So this is going to be what we're going to do a little bit today. Hope you follow along with your own radios. And hey, it's great to be here and talk a little bit about radio. I got a couple of questions to answer from someone that sent me this email. So we have we have John from Northern Texas that sent a couple of questions, and he said, "Be fun if you could answer them either in a video or one of your live shows." He says, "I'm one of those that do not participate much in the live shows, but I am always watching. It's always interesting. Thank you for all you do." And here are the few questions that I have. And of course, one of them is about solar activity. So the first question he's got is, how come we talk so good about the solar activity? We give it such high marks, that solar activity, when we get into the high point of the solar cycle. It's so cool when I look this week, and what we understand is that solar activity this week is actually playing a little trick on us because of the solar flares and the geomagnetic storming. So, of course, his question has to do with, is it really that better in higher solar activity and at the peak of a solar cycle? The thing is there's a bad side to going high in a solar cycle, and that's what we see. It's not just fun and games, although most of the time it is. So, of course, when the sun is quiet, when we're at the bottom of solar cycle, you notice that solar storms don't happen as often. They do happen still. We still have geomagnetic stormings, and we could have flares in the bottom of the solar cycle. Flares don't happen very often because there's pretty much no sunspots. Most of the geomagnetic storming comes from the fact that we are into more of a the solar wind. There'll be faster solar wind, coronal holes, stuff like that. But when we start getting higher in the solar cycle, there's definitely going to be more sunspots because they go together. There's also definitely going to be, sorry, going to be some disturbances because there's going to be solar flares. There's going to be coronal mass ejections from these solar flares that might actually induce some geomagnetic storming. Those will be more frequent, definitely, because of higher solar activity. But there are quiet moments in there, and the higher solar flux, the higher solar activity definitely helps in propagation, especially on the higher frequencies. I've been hearing a lot of the stations on higher frequencies real well. For example, I'm just check it out here. I was hearing Spain very well on 17855, and that does definitely have something to do with how good sorry guys. So it's a little weaker than it was, so there's definitely something happening because it was really strong not long ago. I think it'd be worth to check out the solar indices if there's been some solar flare, another solar flare. So spaceweather.com is where I go to check out the stuff that we have. So we've got a SolarHam. I'm going to go to solarham.net, which has often very quick. Sorry. So 1340, there was a minor radiation storm and a coronal mass ejection. I wouldn't be surprised something's happening right now, maybe a little bit, because Spain was booming in half an hour before the live show started. Now it's just a weak signal on 17855 compared to what it was before. So there's definitely something happening right now. So conditions aren't that great. Looking at the K-index right now hovering at 4-ish. 1, 2, 3. It's at 3 right now. But that is a little high, and that could definitely play a little role in our solar activity and our propagation here for sure. But don't despair. Yeah, I know that you might be like thinking, well, maybe I'm not fond of that high solar activity again because of what's happening. But definitely things will quiet down at times. And when that happens, propagation is just great. 10-meter band is open every day at the solar flux that we have right now, like 150. So do check out the conditions. Go to spaceweather.com, one of the great places where you get a lot of information about what's happening. And look for those more quiet moments. This week was kind of very active. We got to say it, but there are definitely some quiet conditions. We'll continue with the questions in a few seconds. Just want to say hello to Gerrit from Netherlands, NL13248. Nice to have you here. Dale, N8IWS, first time checking in. Welcome aboard. Always nice to have new people aboard. Francis Moore checked out the Carrington event. Fascinating. Ordered a book on propagation to look into other events and how radio waves travel. So very interesting. So cool. We talked about it on Wednesday, and it's definitely fascinating to see these stuff like that. I've read about a Carrington event. There's another event in the early 1900s also that happened that was quite intense. And we got some close calls over time. We've in the last solar cycle, we've had one close call where if the solar flare had been directed at Earth, we might have been into trouble, basically. So we gotta don't take for granted, your technology and what we have, because it could be very surprising how things can change quickly with the sun. We are lucky to have a sun that is rather stable, because when you look at stars, we could see the close stars, for example, around us. We could see that there's solar activity there too. It's part of what the stars do, but some stars are like crazy active in that they have these huge solar flares that would have killed life on Earth, like many times. And some of them so powerful they just rip off the atmosphere off the planets around them. There's crazy things happening on some of the stars. So definitely we're lucky to have a star that's rather stable for that, even though it can have hiccups from time to time with solar activity. So Trustin in Newfoundland, nice to have you here. Says must be spring. The sun is back on the live stream again. Yep. It's higher up now, and it's it's much different. And soon maybe in the next couple of weeks, hope with a little luck, maybe we'll have even a live show from outdoors. I'm waiting for that sun that's right here. It has to be in somewhere. It has to be in my face. Baby. Danielson, nice to have you here from Melbourne, Australia. 6:30 a.m. down there. You're hope you didn't just get up at 6 a.m. to watch my show. Uh, if you did, well, it's kind of cool, but you can sleep in, I think, and watch it later. Nice to have you here from Melbourne, Australia, for sure. And what else do we have? Francis Morris says William Turner, the artist's last words were "Sun is God." Dr. Sisop, CB 11 meter, low noise today. DX not here. Dimitri, like to check the waterfall on WebSDR for signals available and then tune on the portable shortwave receiver. That's a good trick, actually, to watch the SDRs and then see what you can get yourself, for sure. Dr. Sisop, WWV 20 is S9, 15 is for S1, I guess, or 10. What we have is 10 is S5 and 25 is S3. Well, 12 to 15 is 14. Jay Kearns. John, nice to have you here from Southwest Florida. Finally received the Texan PL 990X. How about giving us newbies a top 10 list of frequencies most likely to have a strong signal to search for? It's because it doesn't work like that, really. You can't really do a top 10 list of frequencies that are strong because depending on where you live, it might not be as strong. What I hear over here that's very strong might be weak for you, and you might have some that are strong that are weak for me. There's also some propagation effects, meaning you might be tuning in. This is not AM FM radio. You're not listening to a local station that is broadcasting line of sight. You can hear your FM radio stations all the time. You don't necessarily hear a shortwave signal all the time. Even the most powerful signals might actually be absent, like this week with the solar flux and the solar flares and the solar activity. You might have tried to tune them and it wouldn't work. So it doesn't really work like that. You can't really make a top 10 list of frequencies that signals are strong, because it doesn't, you won't, depending on where you live, that list is very different. And that's the nature of shortwave. Where you live changes everything of what's there and what's not and what's strong or not. Rather than a top 10 list of frequencies that are strong to listen to, you are better off actually learning the where are the international broadcast bands, and where are the amateur bands, and where are the utility bands, and of course tune around constantly everywhere on the shortwave spectrum. Remember the general rule of higher frequencies daytime, lower frequencies nighttime, stuff like that. That's a much better indication, and that's much more useful for a shortwave listener than any top 10 list of a frequency, because that doesn't mean that you're going to hear it. And like I said, probably it changes from place to place. Um, Dr. Sysop, anywhere know where I can get a new display from my Grundig Ethan satellite? Have you tried contacting Ethan just to see if by chance they have some spare parts? The only other place I would think of is eBay. Somebody that has one that dismantled the radio and or get maybe Ethan satellite that is just not working for the parts. Because I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know if Ethan might still have some of the parts for that. Glenn Zekman cannot hear WWV on 10. 45 unit. Nice to have you here. Rain and thunderstorms in Florida. Dr. Sisop is using his classic Yaesu 757 today. Gökhan Kaya, nice to have you here from Turkey. Pretty cool to have you on board. News from the now Netherlands. Who here knows voice of the report of the week? We all know VORW. We often listen to John that makes this show. I haven't heard. I heard VORW Thursday because it's Thursday night mostly that I hear him when I tune around, and it was on 5850, and 5850 for the last. I say for the last month here in Montreal, 5850. I hear the Cuban jamming much more. Dr. Sisop, if you're on the moon, what frequencies you'd pick up from Earth? Well, would be definitely, if you have to hear signals from the moon, it would definitely be anything that is, VHF, UHF range. Now, the moon is quite far at its distance, so a lot of these signals would be weak compared to here. One of the biggest problems with when you get a certain distance from Earth and try to get the signals is that most Earth signals that are in the VHF, UHF range are meant to be listened to on Earth. So they're not being beamed towards the sky. So what happens is that a lot of the signals will probably be weak quite fast. I was reading once, and I think it was in a Sky and Telescope magazine. They were talking about how signals from Earth, like from general broadcast stations that have basically kilowatts of power, or TV signals, would actually be getting weak very fast in space because of the fact that they're not beamed to any direction. And that in the bubble of radio noise that we have on Earth, it wouldn't go that far actually in space, and be probably very difficult to detect from a certain distance. And that distance is not very, very far. Just because it's not beamed. It's just general signals and general noise. So anything that's not a focused signal towards a specific distance or a specific area quickly gets lost in there. But from the moon, be curious. It'd be nice to have the first SDR on the moon. We need to have some ham that's going to do the first on moon SDR. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. News Now Netherlands is using his Kenwood R2000. Nice receiver. Nice receiver. Glenn Zekman is outside in Tennessee. Cool. Zen Farrows has 17855, very strong at the moment. So here it's very washed out in the noise compared to what it was earlier. But if I'm more north than a lot of people listening to the show. If there's some geomagnetic effect, I am going to be affected by that actually much more than a lot of you that are listening to the south of me. And you might have a great signal compared to what I have on something like that. Yeah, 45 unit. Elon Musk. We need to ask Elon Musk to put some SDRs on the moon. Absolutely. 45 units. Absolutely. So what else do we have? JJH preparing dinner while listening. Cool. Marinated lamb chops, mashed potatoes, sauteed onion, mushrooms, yellow squash, and zucchini, red wine, tea, and creme brulee for dessert. Okay, from the chef. That sounds great. Yep, the Carrington event of 1859. That was a major solar storm, and the first one that really has an effect due to the technology, because we use technology. We started using technology around that era, and so the telegraph is and was in use. There's a lot of stuff happening. So, Dr. Sisop, check frequencies for WWV and CHU. I'm going to check it out. Let's put the sound here. The sound. So, what you're hearing there is my Kenwood R5000. I can go here and actually show you the radio itself that we're tuning. So, the trusty Kenwood R5000 that was repaired by Fastlow, that is in the chat room from time to time. Let's try 25 megahertz. Nothing there. We've got 20. So 20 megahertz is coming in. Pretty much nothing on 15. Well, that one is very strong. Around 12,000. This is one of the radars. 10. Very weak on 10. Nothing on 5. And so we're not even going to try 2.5 because I know it's not there. Daytime path, it's not going to work. CHU 3330. That's 3330. Let's go to 7850. 7850. Very weak on 7850. Nothing on 14670. Let's try RWM out of Moscow there. Put myself in CW mode. I'm going to go on 14996. Anything on 14996. Nope. 9996. Nothing. So 4996 probably not also. So kind of interesting to see what's in there. So that's the CHU check for on the Kenwood R5000 here for the signals. So we're going to tune around a little more. I'm just going to answer the rest of the questions that we have from our friend John, and then we'll go in tuning around a little bit to see what's on the bands, see what we can hear. It's fun to play around with that Kenwood R5000. Man, my first real radio, as I called it, that I got back in around 1990 was the time. About 1990-ish is when I got it. What else do we have? Keegan, nice to have you on board. XN80Xer. Is Ethan Grundig edition Field BT radio, and Granite edition satellite with SSB. And nice to have you over from Northwest Arkansas. Hey, Dodge, nice to have you here from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. I called CQ on 20 meters for about 30 minutes on when was it? On around 19 hours UT. Well, less than that. No, before the show. So like more like at 18 hours UT. And of course, didn't get any callback. But I, of course, while checking out while calling CQ on a 20 meter band, I was on 14170. Tried a few SDRs, and I could, it was not, I was not propagating because I could hear myself. I heard myself in the Lamont, Alberta SDR very well. I was really, really booming in there. And I was hearing myself in an SDR in the state of Washington and a couple of SDRs among the East Coast, like in South Carolina, places like that. So my signal was getting up there, but nobody called back. But 20 meter bands seemed to be totally quiet today. I was tuning around. There was like just 3 or 4 stations here and there. So I guess nobody was there to answer back. I might be doing some ham tonight. I feel like, I don't know, there's something that wants me to turn on that FT450 tonight and maybe call CQ a little bit on 20 and 40 possibly. 20 will be open probably late with the solar plugs we have. And 40 might be a nice one also this evening to try. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of ham tonight. So anyways, if you guys want to know, I'll let you know what frequency and what time I am and call CQ. And if we can have a little chat, it'll be great. Nick Spencer, VRW is the bomb here. Love the show. And John is an absolute gentleman. Oh, absolutely. It's really nice to, his show is always cool to, great to listen to. Candy Gloss, nice to have you on board. And just take it easy. Take it easy. Can you tell us more about the Cuban jamming? I've been getting a lot of interference on 5850 lately. Is that what's causing it? Yeah. So Cuba has been jamming WRMI frequencies a lot, probably because it doesn't want to have its broadcasts go to the Cuban population. 5850 particularly has been hit hard with Cuban jamming. And it's been going on, I'd say, for the last month or so. Before that, because I get reports, and we have Dr. Sisop that sometimes says that he hears the Cuban jamming, but it rarely affects WRMI up here in Montreal. Probably down there, closer you are to Cuba, the more it will have an effect. But I've not had that effect much on WRMI in general, but in the past month or so, I'd say there's been definitely a lot of jamming. I don't know if they ramped up the power or changed something, or it's just that WRMI is weaker in general. But yeah, when I tried to listen on Thursday night to Voice of the Report of the Week, I actually heard, I could recognize that it was that playing, but the jamming was too strong. It was unlistenable. So, and they're attacking many frequencies. So if you hear some jamming on most of the frequencies of WRMI, Cuba is effectively jamming a lot of their frequencies. 9955 is another one that's jammed very often. Actually, 9955 is directed towards the Caribbean and South America, I believe. And what happens with 9955 is that Cuba jams it heavily. And sometimes, well, actually often, I don't hear 9955, but I hear jamming on the frequency. It's like the jamming that sometimes I wonder if they switch it off. The other day, Radio Romania was jammed. And it's not because they're jamming Romania. It's because they jam Radio Marti that also uses 7375. But they just don't switch off the jamming. So the other night, I could hear in the background of Radio Romania the jamming of Cuba also. It was not strong enough to, make a difference for me. I could still easily listen to Radio Romania's programs, but it definitely was there. I could detect that, yeah, there's some Cuban jamming in the background. So they are very effective jammers right now. Most of it is directed for Radio Marti, but like I said, the problem is that sometimes they don't switch it off. And because they don't switch it off, what happens is that you get to the point where you hear jamming all the time. And I've heard it like, in the 22-meter band. I've heard everywhere where Radio Marti is. It happens so often that I just go through the frequency, and Radio Marti isn't doesn't have a broadcast at that time, and suddenly it's like, you hear jamming. It's like, yeah, do you switch it off? I'm always wondering if they don't leave it on 24 hours. Sunny, nice to have you here from Australia. Says some frequencies are not updated yet. Shortwave info, do you know any other site that has updated frequencies? Right now, all the schedules are messed up on every website, pretty much. EIBI space is still not updated. I expect that maybe throughout the next few days, crossing my finger that maybe this weekend it could be done. By the way, I will be doing a special show for kind of a thank you show for all of these guys that have and maintain these websites. What we'll do is next week, possibly, we could do a show where if you want to send a donation, what we'll do is you'll just send me the donation to my PayPal. And what we're going to do is all the donations that I've been received at my PayPal, I will split it to the different places that actually have donation buttons, like EIBI Space, for example. We'll send some to Glenn Hauser. We'll send some to every source that we have info that is helping us. And of course, you guys can go directly to their websites and donate. It doesn't have to be that way. It could be, you can donate directly if you prefer, and that's fine. But I like to do that from time to time. We haven't done that in a long time. Last time I did that was, probably a year and a half ago, if not more. And I think it's a good thing. And what I'll do is I'll chip in $50 in there also. So that'll be your donations. I'll add $50, and we'll split it. What I'll probably do is split it equal among the different places where we can send a donation to, with a big thank you. Remember one thing, guys. We are going crazy without the schedules. Notice how without schedules that are up to date, we're kind of searching our way around. This just shows us one thing. The people behind those websites, they don't have to do that. They could tomorrow just say, the hell with it. I'm not updating the schedules anymore. And how does that affect us? It affects us greatly, because not having accurate schedules is definitely a big problem. So let's think about that, because these guys, they're doing that because they want to do it. They're not in for the money. You're not getting rich doing shortwave stuff, I can tell you that. But they are doing it because they want to do it, and we got to make sure that we understand that, and helping them in some way, financially and so on, or even helping them with schedules. It doesn't show, but these people, when they put out schedules like EIBI Space, for example, I remember they had an error on a couple of schedules, and I had to send them correction. And the guy was super happy that I actually send in corrections, because, if you're alone trying to find all the schedules and what are the frequencies, and it can get, it's a big task. And so by having people help you out, definitely helps you out also and makes things a little faster. So, anyways, the best list right now, and it's a little hard to kind of understand sometimes, but the best list right now is the HFCC list. So if you go to the hfcc.org website, you'll see that they have the A22 schedules list, and they have one that I use, which is called All A22. So that list contains everything that was registered through the HFCC that takes care of the coordination of all frequencies of the radio stations on shortwave. There's some stations missing in there. Some countries do not participate. For example, Cuba does not participate. So don't try to find Radio Havana Cuba schedules in there. What they have is the actual schedules of countries, broadcasters that take the time to register um, their frequencies. So the HFCC is the list I'm using right now. I just go there, compare the list, and compare what I hear. Pretty accurate, missing some stuff, but pretty accurate. I've been using it this week and with some success and kind of identifying who's broadcasting and where it comes from. So it's pretty cool. Okay, let's check it out. So let's check it out. What else do we have? What else do we have? What else do we have? Da-da-da-dum. Candy gloss. Let me just go down here. Make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. So, Wholly Unaware, nice to have you here. Anyone have a QSL card from the moon? No, I don't think no one does. Yeah, Zanfaros. It makes a big, big difference. Roger Schultz, nice to have you here. KE4BFJ. Always nice to have you on board, and thank you very much for the ham license. Congratulations. Eugen Stephen, thank you for your work. What would be better to buy a receiver, the Malahite DSP2 or XH Data? We can't really compare both of those. They're kind of very different things, honestly. They're very different things. So technically, it's either you want one or the other. We can't really compare. Next Stage Data is a little portable receiver, shortwave portable that works great. What you're talking about, the Malahite, is a different beast. It's a portable DSP. That is much more up to you and what you want to have as a radio than a choice. It's like if you'd ask me XH Data or Texan PL330, that's one thing because they're both radios and both the same type of radios pretty much. And it comes down to what each can do that the other cannot. But here you're talking about a portable DSP versus a regular shortwave radio. So the question you got to ask yourself is, do you want to have a portable SDR or do you want to have a regular standard shortwave radio? And that's much more where you will actually decide if you want one or the other. Marvin Motz, nice to have you on board. Says also probably got your ham license. AK4VO, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Jetcrafter 7850, very strong in Maine. So yeah, here it's always jumping over the problem. Greg says the Kenwood receiver is really cool. Cool. Terry Cook, I have an amateur radio friend who is into Earth, Moon, Earth. He and other hams make contacts reflecting signals off the moon. So yeah, they use Yagi antennas and very, very low noise amplifiers. It's a tough thing to do, but that's kind of cool. If I'd have all the possibilities to do it, I would do it definitely. Roger Gray, 10 meter FT8 from Quebec, area Thetford Mines in St. George now. starting to propagate here. So cool. Tristan, when we finally go back to the moon, would it make much effort? Would it take much effort to beam Earth-side broadcasts and even internet traffic to the moon's surface? Something fun to think about. Yeah, I know that I've read somewhere that there was they were talking of having some probe or some satellites for internet traffic. Because, let's face it, definitely when they go back to the moon, they're going to want to have some form of internet link from the moon. So they're going to have some form of communication for sure. We're there now. Internet on the moon. Think about it. So what did I do? Oh, I just Googled. I just Googled. What else do we have? Greg, how much is a Kenwood shortwave receiver? Well, these are old radios. So the Kenwood R5000 I've purchased back in, for those that, I'll just say it. I'll just say it quickly. I'll just say it quickly, but the Kenwood R5000. So the official price here in Canada back in 1988, 89, when I started looking at it, was 1,300 Canadian dollars, which back then meant it was probably around the 1,000 ish US dollars, I would guess. And what happened is that I was looking at it, $1,300. I wanted to have it. I was drooling over it every time I would go to Radio Lorenz. And I got no problem with the audio here. I could see that the audio is fine on the meters that I have here. So I don't know what's happening with the audio. I'm just gonna listen to myself here and see if I can. But here the audio is fine. Just gonna check it out here. But I've got no problem with the audio. And everybody having audio problems, or just a couple of people? Out of curiosity, because I see two people commenting about audio problems. So I don't know if it's everybody or just a few people. So anyways, here the audio is fine. So I don't know what's happening. So anyways, what happened with the Kenwood R5000 is that it was 1,300. It needed a filter because the AM filter that comes with it isn't very good. So you got to add the price of the filter. Came to something like $1,500 or something with the filter in it. And what happens is that with the filter, it started to get expensive, and back then I was like minimum wage work. So it's like a lot of money. And there was an ad in the newspaper. It's my brother that actually saw it because he knew I was going crazy over the Kenwood R5000. There was a guy selling one on the in the ads, and he what he did was he would sell it for $900. And so we went to see it, and he actually had it for only 6 months. He had the receipt, everything. It came from Radio Lorenz. It was the only place in town that would sell it. And what happened is that at Radio Lorenz, so what happened is I looked at it, and he had the filter, the AM filter with it. So I was like, wow, 900 with the AM filter. And I bluffed at the same time because I had the money. But I bluffed and I said, oh, I got 800. Would you accept 800? And he said, yeah. So I got it for 800. It was brand new. And came with the AM filter that was not still installed. So I got a good deal technically on it. So what else do we have? Any other things on the audio right now? I'm just going to go down because I'm a little down, 518. Just going to see. Mickey Delmich says, nice. We'll have a QSO. Once again, my log periodic fixed coax broke during a recent windstorm. Another crane repair job required this summer. I think we can make it. I seem to get into Alberta really well, for sure. Brian says, I'll play with radio later on 20 meters if conditions work. And what else do we have? Thanks, Spencer. Thanks for the insight. Makes a lot of sense. I'm in North Carolina, so a lot closer to Cuba. Definitely gotten worse in the past month. Oh, yeah, definitely. Joe Spring from Milton, Florida. Nice to have you here. What else do we have? Yeah, but I've heard about the 40-meter ham jamming stuff also. Yeah. Art Dodd, nice to have you here from New Jersey, K2ADC. Nice to have you here. Glenn, nice to have you here. Daniel Mark says our radio noise into space is part of a communication bubble that reaches around 110 light years from Earth. It's not that simple. That bubble of noise gets really weak fast, and a article that I read, you're not going to detect, even at 100 light years, you're not going to detect the bubble of noise from Earth that easily. It's a tough one because we're not directing, we're not beaming, we're just noise, general noise. It's like using an antenna that is omnidirectional. You'll hear it from a certain distance, definitely, but it fades out real fast, unlike a beamed signal. But I don't. From what I remember from the article that was I think it's Sky and Telescope, already past like 20 or 30 light years, you would have to really have something very, very, very sensitive to be able to just even detect that there's something happening on this planet. And with the rule also that the radio waves fade, 4 times every time you double the distance, the signal is 4 times weaker. It gets weeks. It get weeks. Whoa! It get weak real fast. But maybe with very, very sensitive equipment from some alien somewhere. Maybe they're watching some old Seinfeld. No, not 100. What at 100 light years to get something from the beginning of 1900s. No, don't worry, Kamikaze 1976. There will be no donations to Brother Stare. In fact, he should actually pay us to endure himself on the on the shortwave bands. So when I purchased it, like I said, Greg, I paid $800 used, but it wasn't really used. The guy actually didn't know what to do with it. I doubt that he installed it and used it more than a couple of times. It was really brand new when I got it, and it was about 6 months old from the receipt that I had. The Blast C777 from Connecticut. Nice to have you on board, KC1PSK. Let's have you here, Todd. What else do we have? Let's go down. VA3FAL. Nice to have you here. Had to work 17-meter HF propagation group. CWSSB split at 5 watts. Just to make contact down to Georgia and get a check-in. Alexander, nice to have you here from Moldova. ER1CE. Pretty cool to have somebody from Moldova. What else do we have? So the Blast C777 is going to put a 100-foot long wire tomorrow. Have fun. It's part of the fun. So have fun with that for sure. VA3FAL says, Fred says he made a EME on 2 meters, but the station in Russia had the ears with his antenna. I was doing nothing. He did all the work. Turok Tim. Anyone picking up BBC broadcasts? Yep. 11680 is coming in very well in the afternoon and around 2021. And 15.7, what is it? 30 is also pretty good in when propagation is not disturbed like it is right now. Plus, I hear 11, 8, 10 somewhat good in the afternoons also here. Richard, nice to have you on board. WA2157SWL from Albany, New York. Late to the party, but he's here. Nice to have you here. Take care, Christian Marcoux. Bonne soirée. Beam C Bike, nice to have you here from a snowy countryside. So, wow, pretty crazy. News now, Netherlands. I think the Kenwood 2000 is way more built better than a 5000. Well, the 5000 is good, but it has one flaw that is a common flaw, and it's the fact that it actually has that wax compound on the on the circuit board, and that basically it is when it actually starts mixing in with humidity, it actually is something that becomes acidic, and the motorboard or the board actually gets kind of problems, and you get the dots issue, which is the PLL phase lock that loses its lock actually. And it is a known problem of the Kenwood R5000. So anybody that wants to buy an R5000, you got to make sure that it's all right, for sure. What else do we have? So half of the people saying audio is okay. Other half is saying audio output intermittent. So that's interesting. What else do we have? Tim V, nice to have you here. Fabio, nice to have you here. James Thompson, okay, here in New York City. So what else do we have? It was choppy. So there's nothing here that's different. So I would guess there's something happening with YouTube. Especially if it sounds robotic. Sounds like some kind of weird issue here. Because things look okay here. So it's probably something happening with YouTube, I would guess. What else do we have? You, Calvin Morgan, nice to have you here. Kenny Gloss, YouTube problem now, not an actual problem with his audio. Showa, audio is fine, Southern California. So, it's kind of weird. Some people are fine, some people are not. So I guess it just shows that it's a YouTube issue, I would guess. Especially when it's breaking up like that some people have problems and others don't. Basically. What else do we have? David at Barcelona, Spain. Nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Chaz Tank. I will take my payment from Brother Stare and Cold Hard Cash. Levy Nathan, nice to have you here from Israel. After 12 years without license, renew my ham license now in Israel. 4 Zulu 9 Mike Echo X-Ray. Cool. Welcome back to the hams, for sure. Francis Moore. No, I didn't see, but here in Montreal, for the auroras to show up, we have to have really, really bad geomagnetic storming, because it's just there's too much light pollution in Montreal. So it's kind of difficult. For those that know how it works, the weakest star I could see here is roughly magnitude 2.5 ish. So that gives you an idea of all the difficulty, all the difficulty. John Beckham, for a price point around 95 to 100, I highly recommend the Kenwood on the 808. For money, it has USB, RDS, and FM. It's definitely a nice radio, that's for sure. That's for sure. What else do we have? I need to put my tinfoil hat. Yeah, here everything's fine on the output. So if I stop the stream, I have to restart completely a new link. I think it's YouTube. Ricardo, nice to have you here from Portugal. Francis Moore says no problems in the UK. So you see, it's different from where people are located, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Joe Spring was thinking about getting a Kenwood, but the thing with older radios is you either need to know how to fix them or know someone close by that does. Yeah. An older radio, definitely an older radio is something to think about because you're getting problems. You're getting more problems. From possibly the electronics wearing out over time. So Dr. Sisop wants to pay to remove Brother Stare. What else do we have? Kevin, everyone try checking the settings for the stream. He had his stream dropped to 140 and then chose 1080 to come back to 1080p. Yeah, probably some kind of problems for sure. What else do we have? DVDX, it's okay. It's okay. So we're down back again. Let's just finish a question we have from our friend John in Northern Texas here. And so the other question, so the first question was about solar activity and how he kind of wasn't sure suddenly about, if solar activity or going into the solar cycle, a good solar cycle was definitely a good thing. Second question is about the fact that this has to do with schedules. He says, I was hearing Spain on 9690 kilohertz in the past months, and I've been trying to listen to them, and it seems that 9690 is silent. Did Spain go off the air? What do you know about this? So no, Spain did not go off the air, and this has to do with the schedule season change. The schedule season, we have 2 schedule seasons per year, and what happens is that when they change the schedules, the frequencies change most of the time, and this has to do with the fact that propagation changes with seasons, and this is something that they have to address by changing the frequencies they'll use to different target areas. So Spain is now in 17,855 for North America. So that's where you'll find Spain, 17,855. So 9690 is not used right now. So no, Spain is still there. No problem there. And for those that missed the beginning of the show, remember to write to Voice of Greece. Greece got a extension. They have gotten permission to continue shortwave until May the 31st. That means that you have to write to them because now that period of time until May the 31st is a period of time where they're trying to find the what do we do? Is it important to keep shortwave alive or not? Do take the time to write to them. What else do we have? Um, what else do we have? Jazz Tank loves his DX390, but Julia's right about older things wearing out. I'm starting to wear out also. Yeah, we all kind of, Danielle Mark says, true, like you mentioned earlier, probably aimed. Radio waves can travel hundreds of light years before continually, eventually degrading. Random signals degrade much faster, and it all depends on their strengths. Yeah, and from there you'll have a big mishmash of noise. We've beamed a few of our transmissions. There's been a couple of transmissions. One I remember from the sent from the Arecibo, and there's been a few transmissions sent. One of them with a song from the Beatles called "Across the Universe," sent in the general vicinity of the Big Dipper. So those are much more focused radio signals. So hopefully somebody somewhere might actually eventually, hear them. But our mishmash of noise, it'd be interesting. It's something that probably some people try to look at in the nearby stars from us. Is there some kind of electromagnetic bubble that we can detect? But it fades out so fast that I think it's be difficult. And if you consider that maybe life in the universe is because I believe life is abundant in terms of animals and all sorts of weird stuff, but basically the the next intelligent life might be quite far away, and that is the difficult moment. If it's 1,000 light years, unless we find some really amazing way of traveling or sending information, they'll never know they exist. They'll never know they're there, basically. What else do we have? Keegan showed his DX402 on the meeting on Sunday. What else do we have? Bo's using his SDR Play RSPDX and ML830 that arrived yesterday. Congratulations, and one MJD. Have fun with that. What's the main schedule that I use for shortwave? So when they are up to date, I use EIBI space DE. Those are the ones I use. It's a list, so it's not necessarily as easy to use as certain other websites, but there are websites that people use like short wave.info, which is one where you can enter. If you have an Android tablet or phone, there's an app called Skywave Schedules, which is very nice. Right now, all of those are not working very well, though. The Skywave schedules are dependent on the different lists that are on the internet. So, because these lists are not accurate, the app isn't accurate also. But in the next week and a half, hopefully things are going to be back to normal with proper schedules for listening. So basically. Greg, what did you have fixed on the Kenwood or shortwave radio? So the Kenwood R5000 has definitely some issues over time, and most of them develop a couple of things. And actually, since it's the receiver part and similar to the Kenwood TS 440 or 450, something like that, what happens is that the same problems that the Kenwood R5000 has, the transceivers, the Kenwood TS440 and so on, had developed the same issues also over time. So they put some wax on a circuit board, and they put it there because it isolates it from humidity and all the changes in the atmosphere to make it as stable as possible. But what happens is that compound over time and the heat, because the Kenwood R5000 has one major issue. When you power it from its internal power supply, the heat is amazing. The radio really becomes hot. Actually, I usually use 12 volts lately, but now I plugged it in with its power supply. It's very hot, and I can actually smell the electronics. So it gives you an idea of how hot it becomes. And so the heat and all of that over time, that compound becomes acidic. It, of course, degrades the components on the board. Where it degrades the most is the phase lock loop. So a radio has a PLL. PLL is a circuit that actually makes sure of the accuracy of your frequency display. So the phase lock loop compares itself to a reference, and that reference tells it where you're tuned. That's what you see on the display. When the phase lock loop loses lock, it doesn't know where it's tuned anymore. So that's what happens to the Kenwood R5000. The PLL loses lock. So it doesn't know where it is, so it just displays dots because it doesn't know what frequency to display. That's one of the major problems that Kenwood R5000. And overall, for all radios, whatever radio you have, when it's been, when you had your radio for 20, 30, 40 years, the other thing is capacitors are the number one problem in most radios. Over time, capacitors will wear out. And of course, that means the radio will break down or behave weirdly, or, and at some point, you need to have some fixes for sure. What else do we have? Yeah, I heard that KTWR in Guam was maybe to be removed. What else do we have? What else do we have? What else do we have? Yeah, for that, that means the probably YouTube has some issues, especially when it plays around, because all my indicators here are great. So sorry guys for that. It's part of YouTube sometimes. What else do we have? And it's funny because some people are just not having problems. I even got a couple of messages saying, "Oh, it's fine here," but some people are complaining of problems. So when it's fine on one and not on another, it kind of tells me it's not here. When everybody complains, that's one thing, but when just a small portion, it definitely is YouTube playing having problems. Dr. Sissa 4625 buzzer. Well, it's a little early here for buzzer. North America, it's still too much daylight. As we're getting into the summer, the buzzer is going to be something I'm going to have it would be difficult to hear. Summertime, I rarely hear the buzzer after we're early April. This is going to be the last. This is going to be the last. So, month, I will get the buzzer here pretty much. Darren Pierce, nice to have you here from Melbourne, Australia. He's got an IC735 that needs recapping as it tunes 60 hertz off frequency. Job for winter, so you're going to have that coming as you guys are going to winter. Chut Yunkin, nice to have you here. ICR75. What else do we have? Let me just check it out here. Yeah, on older radios, what's nice is also the fact that a $30 or $40 radio is gonna definitely be easier to fix because of its space and of the way that it is than today's radio is trying to be fixed. Today's radios are going to be definitely tough to fix in 20 years. There's so much more crammed electronics together. It's pretty crazy. Chastain, I'm going to break down and buy an LA30. Advice on a reliable and inexpensive supplier. Look, all the suppliers give the same thing. Just to get one at the price that's the price point that you want, which is, I always say, roughly in the $40 range. Because I've seen it at $100. That's not worth $100, but. Dimitri, can you simply put a fan on top of the radio? Yeah, that's what I did in a long time for the Kenwood R5000, Dimitri. I put a fan on the receiver, especially in the summer, because where I lived before, I didn't have any air conditioning. So when it was, real hot in the summer, that radio was, you barely could touch the top of the radio because it was so hot. But the best was to the best fix for that on this radio is to just power it with an external 12 volts. Then it runs pretty cool. It's really the power supply that's a big problem for the heat. But I actually ran it with a fan for a long time. But honestly, a lot of people run it, and I've been running it for 20, 25, 30 years without any fans or anything, and have not had any problems. Even though it runs hot, it doesn't seem to be the reason why it actually goes bad. It seems to be much more the compound, that wax that they put, actually. So it's kind of weird. What else do we have? Daniel, Mark, I know you reviewed both, but what would you recommend for a small budget radio? Just looking at the Ethon Elite Traveler and the R108. Which one do you think is the best bet? The Eton, the Eton uses regular batteries, where the R108 uses a BL5C. So if that is that is a problem for you. The R108 has a flaw in when it's unused. When you leave the battery in and you don't use it, it definitely draws the batteries. So it drains the batteries, and if you need it, it won't be available. So you definitely need to have several BL5C batteries for sure. For the rest, R108 has airband, which is a nice feature, the VHF airband. They're both nice radios. They're both nice radios to use. Ethon has RDS on FM and R108 also. So maybe because of the battery, probably the Ethon Elite Traveler would be a better choice. Regular batteries and no batteries that are going to drain. Tony X, there are people here today, 17 countries: Italy, England, Netherlands, Algeria, Scotland, Australia, Mexico, France, Spain, Ireland, Turkey, Canada, USA, China, Portugal, Israel, Moldova. Pirate on 6880, say Dave Conte. Let me check that here. Any pirates on? Yep. Definitely a pirate. Six eight seven six. 6876. So definitely a pirate, very strong pirate too on 6876 upper sideband here. Darren Rogers from Long Island, New York, KB2AHS. Dr. Sisab. Now, China cannot access YouTube. So I don't know where or how the connection is made with that person in China, but YouTube is blocked in China. They have their own YouTube, but YouTube is blocked in China. It doesn't. It's not accessible unless you're using some trick. So yeah, Greg. Well, the old. I was lucky because Fastload knows electronics, knows how to fix these things, and there was an agreement, and that so it didn't really cost anything. But it's would I have had my Kenwood R5000 fixed? Personally, if it cost me some money, I thought about it in the '90s, late '90s, it started having DOTS problems in the late '90s, like about 10 years into I had the radio, and there was still the Radio Shack. Here in Montreal, we still had a Radio Shack service center, and I had called, and they said they repaired everything. It didn't have to be something from Radio Shack. Any brand they would repair. And I explained to the guy what I had, and I estimated back then that it would have cost in 1999, 2000, something like maybe $300 to get it repaired ish. And I considered it because it was a good radio, and I thought, well, for $300, it's kind of brand new, maybe. But at the same time, it's like it's not being recapped. They're just fixing what's not working. And finally, over time, I was like, nah, you know what? I don't know. And I started using it in a different way. My Kenwood R5000 would be, when I shut it down, it would take up to an hour before it actually started. As it was heating up, it was actually getting back in working order. So I left it on all the time. When I moved here, my Kenwood R5000 was on 24 hours a day. I just put the volume to 0 when I was not using it. And that worked great until about 2007 when we had a power outage. And of course, with the power outage, when the power came back, it never came back. I left it on for a couple of days and it would never come back ever. So I thought, okay, now it's over. And I finally decided to get something else. And there was this sale on Radio World in Toronto, and I got a Kenwood, the ICOM ICRD 500, because I wanted to have a radio that had shortwave, but was a wideband receiver, a good wideband receiver. So I kind of said, well, let's get an ICOM. If it was not for Fastload, I would probably have either sold it for parts on eBay or something, or just kept it and hope that maybe someday somebody will be there to repair it or something. That's pretty much what I would say. Yeah, well, that's what the like right now I'm running it on the power supply, but I have the DC cable, and with the outboard power supply, it runs pretty cool. It's really the power supply that's the problem. And the thing is that radio's power supply should have been external, not inside the radio. Aguila and Formada, nice to have you here. And Plumada, sorry, from Salt Lake City. And Roger Schultz loves his ICOM R30. K4BFJ. Artist out of Crafter's Kitchen. My R71A runs hot. Always has. Some circuits were meant to. Yeah, I guess. Over time. What else do we have? The funny thing, you know what, Dr. Sisop, my Texan receivers that have airband and my Radio R108 does not suffer from bleed through from FM. But my St. G and ATS 909X2 is unusable on the airband, the VHF airband, because of FM bleed through. And it's kind of weird. So 6880, 6876 that I have here. Let me check the HF Underground website. Might have a HF Underground Pirates. What do we have? We have Shortwave. We have Mixed Radio International 6876, best smooth jazz relay from Mixed Radio International 6876 upper sideband. And boy, is it strong. Going into the S9 plus 10 here. So very strong Pirates. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let me just try to catch up. And I want to make sure I'm not missing out on anybody here on the... Okay, VA3 JPX, my ICR 72 always ran cool. So, what else do we have? VA3 JPX S9 for the station. Yeah, you got to be using a VPN, and even that, even the VPNs in China are being checked. You got to be an approved VPN. Dwayne, nice to have you here from Tennessee. John Belcher, nice to have you here from Australia. Daniel Mark LeBlanc, wow, the Ethon Elite was 54 this morning on Amazon, and now it costs over 100. Yeah, that's Amazon. Sometimes, you know, they have some of the radios that is crazy. There was a radio, and they removed the brand name. There was a radio on Amazon that looks like the Grundig S450 DLX, but they removed the brand name, and it was sold on Amazon for $1,420, and it said something like high sensitivity radio and so on. And I'm like, I look at that, and it's obvious that it's a scam. But I look at that, and sometimes I'm kind of wondering, how can Amazon allow things like that to be there? I mean, it's obvious that that shouldn't be. And, you know, they removed the brand name. Are they kind of trying to convince somebody that knows nothing that we've got a $1,400 radio that's amazing here? I hope nobody gets screwed by that, because it's crazy. It's really crazy, honestly, for sure. So on Amazon, shortwave radios, you got to be careful. I almost never purchase a radio or shortwave radio on Amazon, because most of the time the prices are crazy or crazy high. But you do have deals from time to time, and you have to check regularly. Canistis Just found my dad's old AOR 1500 EX scanner, and she still works. Is it any good for shortwave listening? I have no idea if that radio does cover shortwave. Anybody can check if an AOR 1500EX is that a wideband radio or is it more of a scanner radio? Billy Baofeng uses an ATS 20 plus an MLA 30 loop. Carlos, nice to have you here from Poland. Yeah, no voice of Russia signals. That's been gone for a while. What else do we have? Carl Icon, yep. The best smooth jazz and relayed by Mixed Radio International 6876 upper sideband. Pretty good signal. Pretty good signal. So yeah, they need a VPN because YouTube does not exist inside China, and it is a known fact that because they have their own, I don't remember what's the name, but they have their own YouTube, a Chinese YouTube thing. I mean, come on, there's so much on YouTube. They don't want to have all of what's on YouTube. You know, they're gonna be able to easily see what happened in Tiananmen Square or something. You know. So, what else do we have? David, and I got my own Icom ICR 8500 after seeing the one you had. I also considered R5000, but the R8500 wider frequency coverage and responsive S meter sold me. The the R85, I was at a crossroads actually, and that was the problem. And this is the problem with technology, honest. And it's the fact that when my R5000 decided that it wouldn't work anymore, we're in 2007. We're not really into SDRs yet that much, except for some expensive stuff. And you're into a point where what do I do? And there are a couple of radios I could have looked at, maybe an ICOM R75, which definitely was a nice radio. But what happened is I definitely wanted something that was wide range or wideband receiver. I wanted a good, because I had quite a few scanners over the years. A lot of them were good, like the Realistic Pro 2006 is a nice radio. But I wanted something that had VHF, UHF, and that range could give me upper lower sideband and all of that, which was unique to much more expensive radios. And I wanted something good that doesn't overload easily. So the R8500, the ICOM R8500, I've been looking at in magazines and monitoring times and in popular communications for a long time. So it was something that I'd look at and wonder, well, that radio looks cool. And there was a combination for me. There was a combination of things. Kenwood dies. I want to have something for shortwave, definitely. We're in that moment where portables are nice, but I want to have something better. So we're in that time where it's not like 2022 where my choice would have been an SDR that would have cost me a lot less, and then I got a great radio. We're in 2007, 2008. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? And I just had my shiny new credit card, which is always tempting, of course. And they make it tempting because they want you to use it. So I'm looking at, I decided to go to Radio World Toronto to see what they have, and I look at the receivers that they got. And in Radio World Toronto, the ICOM ICRD 500 was always sold at around 2,200 Canadian dollars. So it's like, yeah, $2,200. That's a lot of money. By chance, that day that I look, sale 1,750. And I'm like, wow, that's like $500 less than the regular price. So I decided to just buy it. And I got it like the next day or something. It was really fast shipping. But what sold me on it was mostly because shortwave, honestly, I immediately noticed one thing about it, ICOM ICRD 500. Shortwave was good, but it was not the shortwave that my Kenwood R5000 was. The Kenwood R5000 is definitely better than the ICOM ICRD 500 on shortwave. And then very strong signals. You notice that the 8500 struggles a little bit, where the Kenwood R5000 has zero problems dealing with that signal. And that I noticed in the first few days of using. It was like, yeah, okay, not the same, but that said, very good, still very good. And I already knew that because I had read, and back in the 90s, I was a crazy reader of specs of all the radios out there. And I had read almost everything that was available on the ICOM ICRD 500 in terms of reviews. I had the white paper from Passport. They had these white papers that you could actually have. I had purchased the white paper to see all the details of the lab results of using the ICOM ICRD 500. I knew that I was getting into a little less optimal performance for shortwave, but still very good. But I wanted to have a wideband radio that performs well everywhere, and it is great for what it is. The 8500 performs well across the frequency range that you ask, that you want to use it for, and that's what sold me. And now I could, I had my first. That was my first single sideband capable receiver for VHF UHF. It's not important for most people because there isn't that much that general population want to listen to in single sideband and the VHF UHF. A regular scanner did the job, but I wanted to listen to those amateur satellites. A lot of them are single sideband. So that gave me that capability. Plus, it gives you the capability of the 6 meters in SSB and stuff like that. And there was I remember the first thing that I actually looked at when I got it that week was single sideband on 2 meters, anything in Montreal. And I found out there was a Friday night net. No, Wednesday evening net on 144.250. And they would meet every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I can listen to a 2-meter net and single sideband. But that's the geek radio guy that I am, that wants to have that little extra and that little stuff that, regular radios don't get. But if we would be now, I would never have purchased an R8500. I mean, it is, and it looks cool, and it is a cool radio, definitely. I do not regret purchasing it at all. It's just that today, you look at, I use the SDR Play RSPDX and the AirSpy HF Plus, and you're like, yeah, well, that those radios are kind of there doing nothing. Even the R5000 that I have right now, it's just like, yeah, it's not kind of doing anything. So it's time change and technology changes. It's crazy. What else do we have? So, Harger's out of Crafter's Kitchen. Keep your R5000 from the fire roaring behind you. Yep. Yeah. How does their cooking beans and shortwave listening life is good. Cool. David says also purchase a Radio Shack DSP40 unit. Realistic minimum is 2.5 speaker. Wanted to be on the safe side for my very first serious desktop setup, and I think I did well. Oh yeah, definitely. Carlos Rubin's tiny Brazilian Philco PH60 on fire in 31 meter. Okay. What else do we have? What else do we have? Kamikaze 76. I wonder if you could get jailed in China for trying to bypass the Great Firewall. Oh, I'm pretty sure you. Pretty sure you can. Pretty sure you can. I can tell you that. Hey, Glenn Zekman, take care. Hope it's not too bad. Stay safe. What else do we have? What else do we have? I don't remember what it's called, but China has its own YouTube. Take care, Tom DXer. Have a good time for some pizza. What else do we have? Chastain got a good deal on Amazon once. Got my R108 for $14 US. Wow. Price was wrong, and they gave me a coupon with free shipping. I couldn't pass it up. I had that price, of course. Of course. So the Chinese YouTube is Billy Blee. Wow. Okay. Shane Flowers, new to shortwave listening, but I am slowly trying to get into it. But I have Texan 990X for AM listening, but I am in an urban environment. What is a cheap antenna suggestion? MLA30. If you want to try to get something, if it's very noisy where you are, MLA30. But if you don't have too much noise, a wire antenna should do the job. You just need to listen properly at a good times of day and night and frequency ranges. John Belcher, from an old school pirate, I don't understand new technology. Love everything radio pre-90s. Still have old gears. So yeah, it's all right. Lots of people like the old stuff. Voice of the report of the week coming in loud and clear on 93.95. No interference for once. Cool. What else do we have? V3 JPX, yeah, 144250. The ICOM works fine. The ICOM that I have, Daniel Mark, works great. I've got it here. Can show you. It's right here. If I can pick it up. It's an heavy radio, but it works great. It's right here. Oops. It's right here. Just need to be plugged into some power source and an antenna, and it would work. It works great. Has no glitches, no problems. It's just not plugged in, but it works great. I almost did a double desktop today. I thought, well, maybe I could put the R8500, and on top of it, put the Kenwood R5000 and plug them both in the to have them working. Log 2112, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Well, even that net, I think it doesn't exist anymore. I think the only net that I've heard of recent in 2 meters is one from like some states, northern states, like northern New York or something. But I think that net that was here in Quebec, I think it's not there anymore. Do you have any SSB nets, VA3 JPX, out of curiosity? David, yeah, that's basically what drove me to the 8500, being my first proper desktop receiver at the time. Best I got was an RTL SDR dongle. Wanted something with the widest frequency coverage and also SSB capabilities for satellite and DX and receive. Yep. Greg, Wednesday, I should use the icon. Yeah, check it out. We'll alternate for sure. Bowman's currently using Alinco DXR8 with Wellbrook Loop. Works great. Mad Rio DXer, you're not the only one. I have an AR and ICOM desktop receivers, and yet I only use my SDR these days. My portable radios get used more than my desktop. Same here, because the portables, you can get them outdoors, you can get them everywhere. So it's the same here. So, it's crazy. It's crazy how something like that suddenly changes your habits totally. 8992 EAM message from the global command. And there's been a big change. The portable radios of today are crazy. When I use one of my good portables, I can't, if I take my Texan H501X, which costs a lot less than a Kenwood R5000 and Icom ICRD500, I just can't find anything to justify that they are necessarily that the Kenwood or the ICOM is better, honestly. So it's something that that's kind of interesting here. Let's see if he comes. I'm gonna try to attract Paul the cat. Yeah. You might have a cat. He's looking at me like, yeah, I'm not sure. All right. He wants to, but he's like, yeah, hesitating. Not sure. Oh, yeah, that. Right. Okay. Okay. He's getting too fat, doesn't want to get up. Okay. Oh well. There's Mr. Paul looking at me and saying, "What do you want?" Mr. Paul the cat in the house, saying, "I'm not sure. I want to be going up there." So of course. So Mr. Paul is in the house, saying hi to everybody. So I'm a little lower now. Lower in my chair. So yeah, portable radio today are just amazing in what they can do. I got to say. Through the Extra says my middle name is ICOM. Oh yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's just it's not used anymore. It's just crazy. Let me just get up. There we go. Put the chair higher. So David says, so basically to get started, decided to take heavy inspiration from your setup. So, okay. Well, it's all right. It's all right. Mad Really the Xer on another stream, power up to 8500. And oops. And tune around the bands just like the good old days of your first stream. Yep. Simon Templar, nice to have you here, my friend. John Belcher, cool. Nice to have you here. V83JPX, we have a weekly 2-meter SSB net on Tuesdays, 9 p.m., 144-250. Okay, I'm gonna try to tune into that. Maybe with the discount and the fact that it's SSB, I'd be able to hear it. So it's around the Ottawa area, I would guess. People, the stations there. Tuesday, 9 p.m., 144-250. Okay, I'll check that out. Keegan is dad, W9JEF as an ICOM IC706 since 1996, and ICOM IC7300 since 2019. Is there a difference between the MLA30 and the MLA30 Plus? They're the same thing, and personally, I got one regular and two pluses. They all perform the same. There doesn't seem to be a difference. And anyways, you will not get anything else but the Plus now. I believe even when they're not saying it, all you get is the Plus version now. That's cat language. Yeah, Paul is totally lazy. He didn't want to come up. He put his paw, he looked at it, said, put the paw back down and said, no, I'm not going up there. Paul Nardelli, been using Nikon IC17 to listen to Shortwave as a plus. It's a 100-watt transmitter with the Mars mod, so I use it on CB. Talk Skip Europe, 38 lower sideband for New York City. Cool. Yeah, Paul wants royalties and catnip. No, I'm not gonna pick him up. He doesn't like to be picked up, actually. So Mark Drager, the cats don't hesitate; they wait you out. Yeah, that's pretty much what they do. Absolutely. So, oh well. Anybody, you guys seen him, anyways. Blind Picker, nice to have you here, Rob, in Connecticut, W0RAB. Carlos, yes, he does look like Garfield, definitely. Catitude, yeah, that's pretty much it. Skipwave DX, pretty much. She isn't, because she would have actually come over and said hi too. She's the Minion. She's more. The more it's nice outside, the more she's always outside. So she's less and less indoors. I can tell you that. Joe Springs says, I think your cat saw my cat now. I just feed him. Sergio, nice to have you here from Sydney. Bowman's Wellbrook Loop, highly recommended. Yeah, but for radios that what we do today, MLA30 is enough. If you have a $1,000 radio, maybe a Wellbrook, and even then, I got a W6 LVP loop that is roughly the same performance in all the tests that I've seen online, and my MLA30 is as good. So I can't recommend expensive antennas anymore. But if you have $1,000 radios, maybe you'll get something like that. But I mean, for the portables we use today, the MLA30 is fine. You know. But it's not a bad antenna, that's for sure. VE3JPX. So the Ottawa net control is in the center of Ottawa. Yeah, I would guess with the discount and the SSB, I think I probably would hear it. I'm gonna try it. I'm trying to remember. I'm gonna try it on next Tuesday night. Next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. I'm gonna try to remember that. Greg, you should get Paul the Cat shortwave receiver. He's got access to all of them, so he can use whatever he wants. Andy Newmike, G90 is an excellent shortwave machine as well as being excellent on transmit. So, does Paul the Cat have a favorite radio? He just chooses whatever's there. Whatever's on. Marie-Noël Desbois, bonsoir. Nice to have you here. She's got 4 orange tabbies. I got 1 and, well, 2, but technically, and it's a lot of jobs, so I can't see myself more than 2 cats. There's somebody new house. Nice to have you here, my friend from Brazil. 6860 playing Aerosmith. So we still have a very strong pirate on 6876. Look at that. $68.60 is pretty good too. Wasn't for the high noise that I got. The signal's really good in 68.60 too, for sure. Kamikaze 76. Our cat meows incessantly until you give her the wet cat food. We ran out one night and she was driving us nuts. You got to ignore her for 2 weeks, apparently. If you ignore her for 2 weeks and are capable of ignoring for 2 weeks, she's going to stop doing it. But then again, I've not been doing that with Paul. So David in Barcelona says, currently my ICR 8500 is hooked to my modified MLA30 loop for long wave, medium wave, and HF receive. On a VHF UHF, using is 60 centimeter offset dish to receive the 10 gigahertz downlink from Q000 satellite. Huh. What got me sold on SDR or software-defined receiver, Greg, is the visuals. When you start not only listening to the signals, but having a visual on the screen of the signal you're listening to and all the signals around it, because you see multiple frequencies at the same time, you just notice that it suddenly is another world, and it's amazing. The MLA30 is not bad on medium wave, but it will fade out fast on long wave. So that's the only place where like the W6 LVP or a Wellbrook might actually beat it really well, would be I would say below 2 megahertz in the medium wave, long wave. That's probably where these two antennas would probably beat an MLA30. So Horizontal Crafter's Kitchen. There's a guy that X-rayed the Wellbrook antenna and is selling a cheaper version, but I still say the MLA30 is the best deal in shortwave. Wellbrook is way overpriced. Like the W6 LVP loop, it's overpriced. It's overpriced. It's not they're not good antennas, and that's not what I'm saying. The antennas are definitely uh definitely good, but overpriced is the exact word. They are overpriced for what they are. In the new SMA to 3.5 jack adapter and away from China. Well, then deploy the MLA30. Cool. Daniel, are your antennas on the roof or on the side of your house? Does it make a huge difference? So my MLA30 is on the balcony in the front, which is the side. And for ham radio operations, I got a W6LVP in the back on the balcony also. And for my ham radio operations, I've got the end-fed sloper because it's at an angle in the yard from the fence in the yard and to the balcony, a little higher than the balcony in the back here. I'm on the third floor where I live. The positioning of antennas is definitely important. Would there be would it be better on the roof rather than, I'm not totally sure. I've never tried, but for the MLA30, would that make a difference? I don't know. It's really a question of noise and positioning it. This is extremely noisy here. Unless it would be very far away from the house, I don't think that just being on the roof would make that much of a difference. Carlos Rubens, in the context of invasion of Ukraine and absence of independent feeder media in Russia, do you think shortwave radio can revive its warfare role and give Russians some alternative info? There's already a few stations that have ramped got to the plate for this. So we have BBC that added a few hours a day of English. We have Spain that has some broadcasts they've added for that. We have Radio, Radio Taiwan International adding some Russian language programming. So there's quite a few stations that are actually doing a job for that. And so there's an increase of shortwave for Eastern Europe and Russia, definitely. Will it revive? It definitely puts attention on shortwave radio. That it actually does. Does it revive shortwave? I don't know, but I think a lot of people are realizing that, you know what, shortwave is important because you never know what's going to happen. While if close to cell phone antenna, would that compromise reception? Technically, it shouldn't. These are very, very high frequencies. And so I don't think that's going to be doing much of a difference. I don't think it will impact. Lock 2112 says CVV Valparaiso Radio in Chile. Navtex on 12584.5. Really? Gotta try that one. 12584.5. Upper sideband. Nope. Not making it up here. So there are some stations that have added Russian services. There are stations that have added a few things that definitely are helping out in bringing news to Russia and to Ukraine. So that's going to be something to check out. So Madrid DX Radio Liberty back again in Russian. There's also WRMI, WTWW that are doing broadcasts that are kind of directed towards that area for support. So we'll see. And One of the things about the U loop also is that it's made to be an outdoor antenna. The MLA30 is capable of being outdoors in the elements, and it's made for that, and it's okay. So mine has been outdoors in the winter weather quite a lot. I do remember, Marie Noel, about the New Carlisle's AM station back in the day. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm in Montreal, and I remember I did pick up CHNC New Carlisle. I remember the first time that I got interested into maybe like DXing medium wave stations, because back in the days, Marie Noel, there was a lot of AM radio stations, local AM radio stations like that, and it was so cool because I remember in the daytime I would actually turn on the radio, and even in the daytime there was full of little local AM stations. Like there was one in I remember I could hear actually Quebec City's AM station. I could hear there was one in Saint Hyacinthe, 1240, I think. There were quite a few stations. There was one in Laurentians, I don't remember where. So there was quite a few AM stations. You'd just go around the band and you would hear all of these stations. And I remember my first book about medium wave AM radio stations and seeing New Carlisle. And I remember I looked at it and I said, oh, I'm going to have to try that one. What frequency they were on? I'm trying to remember. New Carlisle was on. Man, I don't remember the frequency. Do you remember the frequency they were on, Marie Noel? I know you're going to tell me, and I'm going to be like, "Oh yeah, I remember now." But yep, I do remember. Do remember that good old days, for sure, for sure. What part of the MLE30 receives the best, facing the whole loop or edge to edge? On shortwave, it doesn't matter. What you want is just position it so the noise on your radio is the lowest possible. So you slowly turn it. You look at the noise on your radio where there's the least amount of noise. This is where you position it. Why? Because on shortwave, with propagation and signals from far away coming from, the bounce off the ionosphere and all of that, the characteristics of the antenna's directional pattern doesn't change much. Doesn't do much. It does on medium wave. It does on signals that are very close to you. So, for example, here I could probably null out CHU from Ottawa on 3330. But if you try the same thing on, let's say, Radio Romania coming from Europe, you see no difference. You turn it, and there's pretty much no difference in the signal level. And these types of loops, what you want is mostly to lower the noise. So what you do is you put it up and you rotate it until the noise is the least on your radio that you can get. And when you have the lowest noise, you just leave it like that. And that's how it's going to actually work better. Just make it that you have the lowest noise. Joseph Richard, the other day I was listening to Bulgaria talking to United Kingdom from South Portland, Maine. I mentioned your channel for others to become educated on the topic. I hope you're okay with this. Oh yeah, no problem with promoting the channel. Marie Noel, I remember they were a low frequency, but I don't remember which one. I don't remember which one. CHNs. Let me just check it out here because I'm just too curious. So now it's on 107.1 FM. AM radio. They were on, oh, here we go. So that's the FM outlet. The FM outlet. Can I? Yeah, 610. CHNC 610. Radio from New Carlisle. So, yep, 610. Yep, absolutely. Bowman's, any way to tune the Yalenko DXR8 below 150 kilohertz like realistic DX394? Yeah, that's pretty much how something that's locked into the software of the radio. I don't think you'll be able to tune below 150 if it's not made for it. Daniel, you said that your loop antenna is set up on the balcony. How has it stood up to the harsh Quebec weather and wind? No problem. It's been there 3 winters now. It's been there for 3 years. I've pretty much not touched anything. And it's been there for 3 years on top of a long broomstick, wooden broomstick. Well, that says I could pick it up on Anticosti Island. Oh, man. Pretty crazy. DXing Slovenia. Do you still have your Sangean ATS 909X2? Yes, I do. I returned mine because of QRM and now have to wait because they don't have any graphite one in stock, and it takes a while to make one due to part shortage. What type of QRM did you have? What exactly did it do as of problems? Because I still have mine. Would not be my first choice in the shortwave radio. Works well, but for the price that it is, man, that thing could be better, and they could have worked it out a little better. So let's tune a little bit. Let's just check what's on the shortwave bands. I hope propagation isn't too bad, actually. We won't be able to check much of what it is from lists because most lists are not very good. But let's bring this here, and let's bring that to the attention of the Kenwood R5000 receiver. That is right here. So this is my first real shortwave radio back in 1990. You can imagine the thrill of me going home with the Kenwood R5000 for the first time back in the days. I'm going to put the volume on the radio. So what you hear is this radio. And we're going to... Let's start with the 49 meter band. Or maybe let's start with the 25 meter band, actually. Let's go down here. And 25 meter band, which is, we're going to start at 12. 100, go down. Radio Marti on 11930. So Radio Marti on 11930. This is what you hear. Very strong signal. Very strong signal.
Los nombres que mencionó son personas que ya han pasado a las comisiones. Le pedimos a todos ustedes que se incorporen a la comisión donde puede aportar más, donde puede ser más efectivo. Esto comienza hoy. Así que hoy es el momento de por favor, porque estén presentes, sumarse al trabajo de las comisiones, que va a ser bien puntual y bien
efectivo. Slovenia says on 876 there was noise. On shortwave 6070 there was noise when you put your hand on the radio.
Este es
Interesting. It's as if the circuit noise was going into the radio. I wonder if you're going to have, it's going to be fixed. Keep us updated. I wonder if it's going to be fixed or if you get another one, it's going to be the same. Andy New says the H501 is the sort of radio I would have liked to own back in the 70s. Oh, yeah, definitely. Andy New R5000 was a fantastic receiver. Best I had at the time was an ICOM ICR71, although later I did upgrade to the Japan Radio NRD 545. Hank Parr, nice to have you here from Los Angeles. $11,815. I think that's the Brazilian station on 11,815. Radar signal on 11,790. It's interesting. 11,760 is radio van in Cuba sometimes, but now that sounds kind of Chinese-ish. So not a lot of signals tonight on 25 meters compared to what we're used to in the past few tuning around. It's wideband radar signal. Not a lot of stuff happening here. Let's go to the 31 meter band. We're going to go at 10,000. That's link 11. Let's go to 10 megahertz. So WWV on 10 megahertz. The X thing Slovenia, I hope they fix it because I don't want to pay postage again. And there is no FM portable with filters on FM besides St. Jean. 9980 WWCR.
So anyway, once we got decided where we were going to go, we also, the big caveat was
9940, I believe, is WTWW.
Or held hostage by food that you guys are going to charge a whole lot of money for, like a $6 for a pretzel or $10 for a beer. So we told them that, you got to keep that fair. And we want food trucks coming.
Yeah, that's a YouTube problem, the X in Slovenia. My setup is fun. And here everything looks good.
And
it's really just YouTube problems today. Yeah, I know they're playing music usually, but 9940 I don't believe is anything else than WTWW.
And we have improved on that. There's a lot of good ethnic
something
food
here
that comes in there. And
I think it's
really
too early for that.
I mean, it's not just
Yep.
And that's one of the
5085 WTWW has the same program. So this is definitely a
it's all like real potatoes.
A talking show of some sort on WTWW.
You can't help it. But yeah, you talk about
both of them has the same thing.
Actually, the people in Xenia were asking us, man, we didn't get that much traffic into our restaurant.
Something on 9920. I'm just going to bring up the HFCC list. $9920. And we're at 2249. And here it says could be AGM. AGM is Voice of America from Kuwait. Could be that. And Thailand. Thailand is not there at this time from what I see. So this would be probably Voice of America via Kuwait. $9900 Cairo with its messed up audio. Sergio, Radio Marti will always remember me if my granny trying to tune Radio Marti, always actively jammed by the Cuban government with her old VAF 206. Wow. Daniel Mark, my dad had a Helicopter's radio model S38. It was sold years ago, and the person who purchased says still works. Wow. These radios were rock solid. They worked for a long time. You know, like old radios, even the old radios, the tube radios, the biggest problem was the capacitors. $98.80 and some music. This would be China. China Music Radio. With the RTT wire from the Navy. Voice of Turkey. 9830. Voice of Turkey. That Navy RTTY, always annoying. Voice of Turkey there. 9830. Ryan says conditions must be settling. Activity coming back. Made a contact. The contest turned 20 meters. Cool. No, DXing Slovenia. I have not tried yet SDR++ on Android. I need to check it out. Maybe if I can run it on my tablet. Yeah, fast load. That's famous R5000. Ugo Razzo, take care. Take care. Nice to have you here. Sorry. You got a way around. 31 meters seems to have a lot of signals from China. That off frequency Brazilian 9666.9, which is the Voz Missionaria 9665 technically should be, but it's off frequency for the Voice Missionaria 9666.9 ish. That's what I got here. Yeah, Tenemis. That's U.S. Navy RTTY. It's in the east coast of North America, and it's encrypted, so there's nothing to decode. No fastload. I had not. I didn't really play with it much, so I haven't tested the pan adapter. Nothing with it yet. I need to check that out. But it's a nice receiver. Honestly, nice receiver. It's very happy. Very happy. Rook. Nice to have you here. Greg, yeah, I used to have one, but right now I don't have any tube shortwave radios. I've got some medium wave American 5s, as they call them. Lock 2112, Gray Line, always one of the primo times for shortwave listenings. Yep. You can have some RTTY in the clear, but in the ham bands, Tenemis. So that's Brazil, off frequency as usual. Radio Marti and 9565. A395 WRMI.
Contact information and free offers. Stay tuned.
9350, I think it's WWCR. 9330 Superstation. WBCQ.
Our prayer for God's will to
WINB in Red Lion, Pennsylvania, 9265.
means much more now. It holds a wonderful outlook for suffering humanity.
For shortwave listening, Daniel, what I do is I have my Chromebook here, which you could probably see right here. This is a Chromebook. On this Chromebook, I always have a page open with
it is very simple to get the little book
I could log utilities and international broadcasts, and every month I create a new page for the month. But this is the way I mostly log those things. As for ham radio, I pretty much log them all in QRZ.com. No problem, Daniel. Take care.
Are not being healed today. Divine healing answers the many questions which arise.
Take care, the X-Thing Slovenia.
And in a manner
Stay safe.
which you will find satisfactory and comforting.
Yes, there is an RTTY decoder for Android, and I would have to look at what's the name. Most of the apps for decoding on Android are good in general. Droid RTTY is the name. That's what I have.
Related to the subject of miracles.
That's pretty much dead.
So send for the
it's
Droid
RTTY that I use.
To Frank and Ernest, Box 60, General Post Office, New York City.
Ryan 9940 WTWW just jumped on the cheapo as they are. Might turn out to be a good night.
Ask for the little book. Divine
Mark Dragger 9830 dropped off 2254. How many apps I have on my phone? As many as the memory of my phone is capable of in general. My tablets and my phone, I test all sorts of apps, so it's like I got tons of things in here. Any new S7CUN going QRT? Take care, my friend. Stay safe. Let's go into upper sideband and see if there's any utilities around the There's a station on 9155, which is possibly China radio jamming the Sound of Hope from Taiwan, I would guess. It's not written in the list here for sure. That tone on 8992, the frequency of the global command. Let's go down. And tune, we're just below 8 megahertz now. Long time I haven't heard CHU at least copyable on 7850. Pretty crazy. WBCQ and 7490.
We bring you the best music of all genres from throughout the world, and this week we'll be speaking with British psych rock legend Icarus Peel. Having made a name for himself as a member
Yeah,
of
fast load.
Peel is
I've
also
used it pretty much all the time with the Kenwood R5000 back in the day.
with his group Acid Rain.
VA3 JPX Global Command is the U.S. Air Force emergency network kind of military global. It's the HF Global Command that it's called, and it's on several frequencies, including 4724, 8992, 11175, 15016, and they send out phonetics encoded messages regularly. That's probably Radio Marti on 7335. Ham radio operator in AM mode on 7290. 13200 Lock 2112 is they switch frequencies depending on summer or winter. I believe 13200 is going to be used starting in May for the summertime, and it's not used in the wintertime. Let's check some hams on 40 meters. Lower sideband. A little bit of hams on 40 meters. There must be an RTTY contest. There's a lot of RTTYs. Keegan, 202 subscribers of last Sunday. Cool. Pirate. Many pirates. Let's check that out. Something very weak on 69.25. $68.60 Pirate is there. 68.60. Let's check out 68.60 on HF Underground and continue talking so I don't get any copyright notice for the music. So 68.60 Pirate there, pretty strong. WTF Radio Worldwide. That's what's on 68.60 right now with a pretty good signal here. And let's check out the 49 meter band. Radio Nacional Amazonas, Brazil on 6180. Not bad. Yeah, 11780 has been missing for a while now. Black Panther, yes. Arr. WBCQ with Suffragette City, David Bowie song, 6160. WWCR, 6115. CFRX Toronto on 6070.
I wish I could talk to myself when I...
Amazing signal from Radio Télévision Malienne. If you guys are looking for some exotic music and stuff, Mali on 5995. Pretty good signal. Interesting stuff. The propagation is not up to par, but it's not too bad. It's not up to par as what it could be, but it's not too bad tonight on the bands compared to a lot of other nights where it was kind of difficult to really hear anything. So, hey guys, we've been on for 3 hours. We're going to take it easy for the rest of the evening. We're going to do some shortwave listening. I'm going to leave the Kenwood here. I think I'm going to have fun tuning the Kenwood tonight a little bit. I'll be in a Facebook group. If I hear anything special, anything unusual, I'll be posting it on the Facebook group. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday evening / Sunday. Thanks for being here as usual. It was a lot of fun, and we'll be back on Wednesday with our next show. Hope you enjoyed the show today as usual. Tuning a little bit about with the Kenwood R5000 and answering questions, talking about all sorts of things. So stay safe, everybody. Love you all. JJ Hendo, hello there. Take care. And so sad that you got in just as the show is going on. Sorry for that. So take care, everybody. And we'll be back Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 0 hours UTC Thursday. And of course, if you can't make it, we have Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight or 20 hours Universal Time. Take care, guys. 73. Stay safe, and see you in the next show. Have fun with your radios. That's the important thing to do. Take care, guys.